Hello boys and girls, welcome to my channel. I'm for Classic and welcome to BenchART. So for today what I do have in it is Citizen 4, a game developed by Crow Team, which is the same developers behind the entire Citizen series, and also the developers behind a very nice puzzle game which I did try some years ago called the Talos Principle. If you did enjoy Portal and you want a more serious style Portal with the same kind of puzzles, the Talos Principle, it is an excellent game for you and I highly recommend it because it is amazing. Alright, so but we are here to talk about Citizen 4 running on the GT 740M, which is equivalent to the GT 920M or the GT 825M, and this is the settings I decided to go with. So first of all, 720p using the absolutely minimum settings over here. If you go to customize, you can change the max 3D rendering, but pretty much all the stuff, it is simply on the minimum possible. Alright, so looking to the requirements, these guys ask for a 4-core CPU. Unfortunately, our CPU, it is a dual core with 4 threads, but I don't think that the issue in it is really the CPU. Also, it asks for 8 gigs of RAM, which we have, but the issue is that as a minimum it does require a GTX 780, and we have a 740 ham, which stands for mobile, which is much more weaker than the desktop version. Either way, with 720p using the absolutely minimum settings like you saw, using the built-in benchmark of the game on the map Viva la Resistance, using the 5 minutes pass, what I got, it was an average of 37 frames per second with a 1% of 21. So what happens really is that for the most part the game will be running easily above 30 frames per second, but if you get into a moment where there is tons of enemies shooting at you and particles everywhere and all that kind of stuff, you can expect your game to drop under 30 frames per second. Citizen, it is a game where you would like to have higher frame rates like 50 or 60 frames per second for the most part, but unfortunately the GT 740M or the GT 920M can't deliver those performance levels. Although I wouldn't really consider this unplayable. I think it is pretty playable, but of course there are some moments, like I did told you, when there is a ton of enemies on screen and you are on an area with a lot of foliage and stuff going on, your frame rate might drop under 30 frames per second. But still, it is playable. Alright, if you really care about Citizen, you can play this game with these graphic cards. Alright, but the issue is that this game, it isn't being as well received as the predecessors. Metacritic score at the moment, it is 68. And most of the YouTube reviewers that received the preview copy aren't really satisfied with the game and the direction that the game took. So what is happening with Citizen? I think we will talk throughout now about the game, since we already covered the performance. So yeah, let's talk a little bit more about the game. Citizen 4, it doesn't look to be the Citizen game that we want. So after Citizen 3, people weren't really pissed about the direction of the game, but people were mostly pissed about the art style, because Citizen 1 and the second encounter, it was mostly on Egypt. Citizen 2, it was a little bit more cartoonish, despite the core, and Citizen 3, it was, well, the art style did change a lot, alright, and it left a lot of people unsatisfied. But still, there was a balance between the Citizen first encounter and second encounter and the environments of Citizen 3. Well, Citizen 4, pretty much, and most of the environments of this game that I've checked so far, even despite on playing these 3 levels, there is a benchmark tool that allows you to select multiple levels. What I've seen so far is that most of the environments are just, well, this type of city environment or most closed or small environment. So it feels like an arena shooter where you are trapped between buildings. Alright, this is something very different than what was done with Citizen first encounter and second encounter. Yes, when we were inside the pyramids, it was a boxed environment, but on many levels we have kind of open environments and multiple enemies, which in this game it is not really mostly the case. So it's not really happening that often, because you will feel that most of the game will be inside these boxed environments. So, and also there is tons of cutscenes over here and a lot of try-hard jokes. I'm saying this because the jokes in this game, I don't know, it might be funny to some people. I find them funny, but it is not really good jokes, alright? The jokes on this game, it isn't really that great. And technology-wise, again, this feels like Serious Sam 3. Alright, despite this engine behind this, it is Serious Sam engine 2017. Visually, in my opinion, the game looks like Serious Sam 3, but with much more detail into the levels as expected. But the technology pretty much looks the same. Not to mention that it is kind of easy to see that these guys recycled a lot, but really a lot of assets from the Talos Principle. Usually for most games we don't really care about that, but it is so evident when you start the game. There is some sort of a small garden, and you can clearly see that the environment, it is pretty much the same as most of the puzzles of the Talos Principle. So it is shocking. It is like you just installed the Talos Principle and you install a kind of a DLC from Serious Sam that allows you to shoot enemies on the gardens of the Talos Principle. So that is that. For the most part, this doesn't really concern me, you know. Recycling assets, it is something normal. We can see that a lot of developers recycle, for example, animations. That is pretty normal. That is not exactly what does shock me. But what it does shock me is that this game, it is being released in 2020, while Serious Sam 3 was released 9 years ago, and the technology looks the same, which, well, it is not really a great way to describe it. And also we are seeing recycling assets from the Talos Principle, and if you go and check it out, the Talos Principle release date, which is exactly what I'm doing in here while I speak to you, because when I speak about games I just let it go. So the Talos Principle was released in December 2014, so it's pretty much a 6-year-old game, and they are recycling assets from it. So it feels like Crow Team just stopped in time, and that's really what gets me worried about. Serious Sam elements are here, alright, so if you are a fan of Serious Sam, and if you did enjoy Serious Sam 3, you will enjoy Serious Sam 4. Possibly you won't be as much satisfied as it was with Serious Sam 3, alright, but Serious Sam 4, for me, it is the worst Serious Sam until today. But it is not possibly as worse as critics have been saying on YouTube, alright? It is not that bad. I haven't found really any issue with the game so far. It behaves like a regular Serious Sam. Some people are complaining about optimization. Yes, the game, it is very demanding, so just select the graphics according to the frame rate that you want. The game will look visually nice, pretty much whatever the setting you go with, aside from water, like I did told you. But like I did show you, I'm using the low textures, and honestly the low textures looks pretty great anyway, so just select the settings accordingly. And I guess that's that. I just think that the game, it is costing 40 bucks. I think it's a nice price indeed. It is not a full AAA price, but possibly giving the the reviews that have been out talking about this game, and a lot of people unsatisfied with the art design and the route they are taking the game. Possibly 40 bucks, it is a little bit too much. Possibly 30 bucks would be the recommended price for this game, or just buy it on sale. I'm not saying that this game doesn't worth 40 bucks, but honestly, probably not. Alright, it is something that you finish in 10 hours, and you can play cooperative if you want, which is a good thing. But unless you really enjoy a lot Serious Sam, this game might not be for you. And comparing to the other titles, this is the worst, in my opinion, that I have tried, alongside with Serious Sam 2. I'm not talking about the second encounter, I'm talking about Serious Sam 2. Alright, so guys, I think that's all that I want to talk about Serious Sam 4. This is just my own opinion, and I'm no reviewer, so take this as my own opinion only. And that's it, guys. So thank you a lot for watching, and I do hope to see you soon. Goodbye.
sir. It's an Oregon hemivore.
It's a fucking vampire, kitty.
Should have pecked holy water. Bloodsuckers!
So long, suckers!
Let's go up here some.
Uh-oh. Sounds like we're about to have company.
Forgive me. I almost played Stairway to Heaven joke.
You are forgiven, Father.
Oh, wow! What a lovely view!
Planet Earth, baby. There's no place like it. Drones!
My faith is my shield! Ouch! To hell with you! Praise the Lord! And pass the ammunition! You do not frighten me! You will not harm my friends! When I said an eye for an eye, this is not what I imagined.
Now, for a short editorial. Who is Lord Ackerman? He's pretty evil, that much is clear, but who is he really? Who is he when he goes home and puts down...
And now a message from Lord Ackerman.